Do you want your sofa to be magazine ready? Do you want it to look stunning? Do you want people to come over and be gagged by your sofa? Well, today I'm gonna show you a few tips and tricks that I like to do for my sofas that just make it feel a little bit elevated. Here we are, and of course, one of my favorite houses, and something that I've been getting a few requests from friends and things like that is, how do we style sofas? And for me, I like to use like the rule of 3, or the rule of 5. I think that, having things in odd numbers as far as pillows go on the sofa are great. You also wanna like check in on a few things, like, are you gonna be lounging on the sofa? Are you gonna be watching TV? Like, what are you going to be doing? So the sofa that I have here today is a little bit more formal, but definitely still lends itself for a little bit of lounging, mainly some really great conversation. One of the things, you always need to make sure at least you have one pillow that is like super comfy that you can lay on, that you can like cuddle up with, I always like to have another sofa pillow that I can put my computer on if I'm working. But anyways, at the end of the day, it comes down to personal taste, and let's just go for it. First set is, I always like to start with let's start with a throw. We're going for something that's just a little bit more cozy and casual. So as far as throws go, I love something that has a lot of texture, something that has a lot of like warmth and coziness to it. So first one here, we have a nice like cable knit throw right there. With this one, because we're doing something that's a little bit more cozy, a little bit more family room style, we have a really amazing mohair pillow here. It's just in a nice navy blue. We can toss this here. I always like to add in a bit of pattern. So pattern-wise, found this one, it's great, it's hand woven. Yours doesn't have to be hand woven, of course. So, I like to see, like right now, like we have a nice balance. I always like to balance the throw on one side and have pillows on the other. One of the things that is literally the pet peeve of my life is, I do not think that we need to actually chop pillows anymore. It feels like my grandma's house. It feels so dated, like it literally gives me hives. So what I like to do is, if we want something that's just a little bit more relaxed, take your pillows, lay them out. Don't pop them straight up, just pop them back a little bit. Let them relax, like maybe it's just not you that wants to relax on the sofa. Maybe it's your pillows as well. I don't know, call me crazy. So anyways, I digress. I get very passionate about chopping up pillows. As you can see, we're almost done. Like this feels very nice. It feels very centered. Something that you can do here is you can throw like your third pillow for a little bit of color on this side. Normally what I'll do is I will take one of the pillows and I like to tuck it in to the throw. And here you can see, you just create like a nice little balanced look. I actually might tweak this a little bit and pull this one over to here. And we have this one over here. Again, you can play with it however you want. Now that I'm seeing this, I might redo it again. I like this one here. And instead, I'm gonna pull this in for a little bit of shape. So there you have it. A fun, easily styled pillow with your sofa. This time, I want it to feel a little bit more like formal sitting room, a little more elevated, like you're gonna be sitting there gossiping, doing whatever what you do. But for this one, we're gonna use pieces that are a little bit more refined. Something that I'm so obsessed with right now are Mongolian throws. You can use the real deal, you can use, faux, it's up to you. But the thing that I want everyone to always remember is texture, texture, texture. Patterns, shapes, let's make it interesting, because I think that people tend to look at the sofa as a place to just relax, but it's also a really great place to show your personality. So here we have this gorgeous Mongolian throw. I always like to make sure we just have, it has like its own bit of texture in it. So here, it just feels very like casually placed. That's one thing that I love about this is right now, as it stands, the sofa looks gorgeous. We've got a nice texture on the sofa. We have the Mongolian fur, to add a little bit of interest, because this is more of a formal, room that we're setting up for. I like to incorporate a little bit of black. The thing I love about these pillows is it's tan on one side, it's black on the other, so it still feels very formal, but also casual one just like it. So again, I'm gonna say let's throw, you know, this guy over to this side. Something we love to play with is pattern, pattern, pattern. Love this one here. Great grid pattern here. And you know, for this, I would say let's keep it on this side as well. Always make sure zippers are on the bottom of the pillow, okay? I think that's common knowledge, but let's just make sure we do that. And then last but not least, if we want to have a little bit more fun, have it be a little bit more bold, we could utilize this pattern pillow and have it sit there. And if you want to, you can throw in, you know, another one. And you could do the round pillow as well. I'm a huge fan of the ball pillow. I love it because it's just like, it gives a nice texture, gives a nice pattern. Here you have something that's a little bit more formal. I know I like to work in odd numbers, but if you look at it right now, we've got an odd number here. We've got 4 pillows and 1 throw. Or if you want to do the less is more approach, you know, you can take this guy away and bring this one here. And I always like to make sure I have like just a little bit of like, you know, ruffling with throughout the throw, so it just feels very like casual. So yeah, here's option 2 for something that's just a little bit more formal and a little bit more fun. I've just given you a few like little tips and tricks that I have that I like to use to, you know, to do my sofas, to pillow my sofas, to make them like photo ready. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to your personal preference. And the one thing I always like to tell my clients, friends, family, whoever it may be that'll listen to me, the bodega man on the corner, I'm not sure, you know, whoever. It comes down to your personality, and be bold. Don't be afraid to mix patterns, mix textures, mix things. If something makes you a little nervous, I'm always in the camp of let's do it. You know, there are other factors that come into the play. You know, how long is your sofa? Does it have arms? Does it not have arms? Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, you want to feel that your sofa is kind of a little bit of a representation of you, yourself. Your home is your castle. So make sure that it really shines. Don't be afraid to try new things as far as it comes to like design in your own home, because that right there is going to give you the top design.